How are we doing, fellas?
Hello.
It's nice to be back again.
It is.
Yeah, and we've got four people with us. We've got the 3 missing stormtroopers.
Yes. Finally. They're back.
Made their return, and so I think we should talk about that tonight. And also we've got our friend Abs.
Yeah.
Who's come to see us tonight. Abs, I've noticed here, mate, that
Evening, guys.
You've done some homework. You got some notes there.
Just a little bit.
The man's
passed
come
over the
prepared.
questions, and I thought I'd write a few answers towards it. Just
Keep
not
it-
so much answers, but just like a little bit of what I want to say.
Yeah, cool. Keep it sharp.
Yeah, man.
Keep it sharp.
I keep it to the point.
Yeah, keep it to the point. Yeah. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you are here to talk to us about?
I'm basically here just to talk about myself, my experience, my upbringing. I've emigrated from a African nation when I was quite young, and the process in which that happened, basically.
Cool. So I think I've got so many questions I want to ask you. Obviously, we've had a bit of a chat beforehand to talk about the things that we want to discuss.
Yeah.
But obviously, add in anything you want, and just
Yeah, man.
anything that you want to talk about in regards to your experiences. Like, there's no holds barred, mate.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Open
Okay,
space.
boys.
How are we doing?
I'm
then, bro?
ready.
What about you, Ben? Are you okay, mate?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah, feeling good. Do you know what? I'm looking forward to listening to Abs because obviously I know him as a friend, but I don't actually know too much about his background, and I'm very interested to find out. So I'm going to ask loads of questions.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
fine.
mind that. Everything.
No, I'm good. I'm
That's
ready, boys.
Yeah, that's an interesting point though, because I think that I was thinking about this today. When it comes to things like asylum seeking, immigration, and all that sort of stuff, we hear all the outcomes on the news, don't we?
Yeah.
Like we hear the start, oh, this has happened, or this happened in this country, and the outcome is they've come here. Nobody knows anything about the middle, and I don't think it's spoken about.
It's
enough.
not
So
spoken about.
It's not spoken about at all,
at
is
all.
it?
No.
Yeah. So that's why I'm really excited to have this conversation with you, just to find out a little bit more about those. And
Well,
what you-
I hope I'll be able to enlighten you guys.
yeah. So, so where do you come from originally?
I was born in Ethiopia, in the capital, Addis Ababa. Lived there till I was around about 4 years old. And then I moved to Zimbabwe, which is Southern Africa. Ethiopia is based in East Africa. And it's about a 6-7 hour flight separation.
Wow.
Yeah.
So a completely different culture as well.
Yeah, completely different culture, language.
Abs, was that just you or your whole family?
No, that wasn't just me. Basically, I was born to 2 very young Ethiopian people, my mum, my dad. Shout out to them. Hello.
Hello.
And they were quite young when I was born, and they struggled to raise me because they weren't together, they weren't married, they weren't in a relationship. And fortunately for them, they had my dad's sister lived in Zimbabwe after she got married to a Zimbabwean journalist who ended up being the father of her 2 children.
Wow.
And she had a better life, and she offered to raise me, give me a better education and what they thought would be a better life for me.
Wow.
So interesting. So tell us a little bit about Ethiopia. Do you have any memories of Ethiopia? And obviously, since you've left, have you took the time out to learn more about Ethiopia and your roots?
I've had 2 separate experiences in Ethiopia. First was obviously where I was born, lived there till I was 4. Not got the most memories, very vague ones you would have as a child. And then later on, when I moved back to Ethiopia for a year, when we moved back from Zimbabwe, and I spent a year there between my 11th and 12th birthday. So that's probably where I get more of my understanding of the country and my love of where I was born, really.
Who did you live with when you moved back there, Abs?
We stayed with my dad.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, he
And
was.
did your auntie come with you, or was it just you and your own?
Yes. So, but why we left Zimbabwe was because she noticed the economy was failing, basically, and the life that she built there wasn't going to be sustained for much longer. She was a business owner, a lecturer at universities.
She sounds
etc.
switched on, bro.
Yeah, man, she was an amazing woman, definitely. Shout out to Auntie,
Yeah.
who I call my mum, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's
Nice.
my mum. That's who I was raised by, basically.
Yeah.
So I call her my mum.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So when we moved out of Zimbabwe, she noticed the economy was failing. She knew that there wasn't going to be a future for her kids there. So she took the very big risk and sold up and decided to move to the UK.
Can I just stop you there for a second?
Yep.
Because I think you've run through so much already.
Yeah,
I
I've
want
got
to ask you
loads of
more
questions.
questions.
Yeah, of
about
course.
I've still got one for the beginning. Where was you born?
Ethiopia,
Yeah, what's it called?
Addis Ababa.
Yeah, say that again.
Addis Ababa. It means new flower.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, man.
And is that
Addis
I
Ababa.
thought it
That's the
sounded
capital.
amazing. Though. I just
Capital,
wanted to,
yeah.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
the
yeah.
capital city.
That's something that, I want to know that. Yeah,
Yeah, man.
cool.
So can you tell us a little bit about Ethiopia? Like, understanding that country, what do you know about? What can you tell us about the country to give us an idea of?
It's a very beautiful place. The weather's what you'd want it to be on the best holiday you could ever go to.
It's a coastal country, isn't it? So,
Close, but not entirely. No.
not entirely.
Not entirely. No. It's if you look at the African map, it's on the right hand where the peak is.
Yeah.
Parts of Ethiopia touch the ocean, but not a lot of it.
Not a lot of it.
Not
Okay.
a lot of it. No.
Okay.
And the capital is quite central in the country, so
Right.
you don't really, unless you go traveling,
Yeah.
you're not really going to see the oceans or seas or anything like that.
Yeah, my knowledge on Ethiopia is very limited.
Mm.
When we was when I was obviously younger, it used to say that basically it was just about being a third world country. That's all we ever known about it. So it's going to be interesting to see that side. You can see your face light up when you
That's
talk
not
about
far off. It's
Yeah.
not far off, but at the same time, you could describe other African countries the same way. Some European countries the same way. Like people are just trying to make it, just trying to feed their families, feed themselves. Do you know what I mean? There's a richer aspect to the country, as there is in every country. So yeah, there's a lot to dive into. One thing that I remember the most is the people, the food, and the culture. Like it's hard to describe. It's hard to describe. And what I remember, I just remember absolutely loving my time there, because from the age of 4 till 11, I wasn't where I was born. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you go to school there?
Yeah, I went to school in Zimbabwe.
And what was that?
So
like?
sorry, can I just because I don't want to skip forward to
Yeah,
Zimbabwe
yeah,
yet.
yeah.
I want to just try and stick to Ethiopia just for a minute, because what I want to learn about is what was it about the education there that your mum thought that's not good enough. We can get you a better education somewhere else.
I'm not sure. I'll be entirely honest with you. I'm not sure why the decisions were made. Because at the same time, like I was 3-4 years old when the decisions were being made.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the big reasons would have been your auntie was much more financially stable, possibly.
Yeah, most definitely.
yeah.
Most definitely. Because they
And so it could offer you more sort of things.
just give
have
you
more options.
less of a reason to struggle as a child, I guess,
Yeah.
would be the best way to describe it. And
More
I didn't.
options.
I could never ever say that we struggled. Like when I lived with my aunt, I swear to you, living in Zimbabwe until obviously we came to the UK, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah. Okay. So you took the decision to go to Zimbabwe. Do you remember how you felt at the time about going to Zimbabwe?
I was very excited. I can remember being very excited.
Because 4's young though, isn't it? So
Let's say 4.5.
Yeah.
But I can just remember being very excited. It's the first time we're going on a plane.
Yeah.
First time I'm going to see my aunt, who we adore because she's the oldest in my dad's side. She's the big sister, the one that raised everybody before she left, that kind of stuff. So I can just remember being very excited. Nothing.
Did you do that
else.
on your own? Did you go on your own?
No, I went with my dad's other sister.
Right.
So she came with me.
Right. What, did she stay out there with
She
you?
stayed in Zimbabwe with us as well.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
My aunt
Wow.
was kind of like an Ethiopian embassy, if you want to call it, for people that was coming from Ethiopia to Zimbabwe.
Wow.
There was a serious migration in the early 90s, I believe. Late 80s, early 90s.
Wow.
Are you aware of what caused that migration?
There was civil war, I believe, in Ethiopia.
Oh, okay.
And I believe that was the end of it, those years. But that's just from what I recollect being told when I was a kid.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So you arrived in Zimbabwe. So tell us a little bit about what that was like when you first got there, if you could, from what you can remember of it.
From what I remember, so my aunt also had one of her brothers living there. He came to Zimbabwe before I did. A few of her cousins. Obviously, they didn't live in the same house, but they were around a lot. So it was very family orientated. Like we were always around each other. We were always doing stuff together. Specifics, I'm not too sure, but I can just always remember having family around. This is from like 4, 5, 6. Then I went to primary school. When I was 6, I first went to primary school, which is the normal age as you do. There was a language barrier as well when I moved to Zimbabwe because I didn't speak English or the native Zimbabwean language, which was called Shona.
Wow. That must have been difficult.
The only word I knew was hello. I can remember
So you'd
that
say hello
vividly
and then
That's
anything
it.
else after
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
That's it. That's one
I
thing
get
I
good
do
at meeting
remember.
people.
But there's an insane amount of languages in Africa, isn't there?
Oh, yeah.
Especially sub-Saharan Africa.
Oh yeah, thousands. From what I've read, there's thousands.
Yeah, I don't actually know what the stat is, but it's something like it accounts for 30% of all languages.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, that
Africa.
doesn't surprise me
Yeah,
at
yeah,
all.
yeah.
Even the few countries that I have lived in Africa, which is the 2, I can vouch for hearing at least 6 different languages, at least.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not
Because
understanding.
that was my next question. I was going to ask, how different was it culturally from Ethiopia? Like, was it a massive, massive change?
Well, not for me, noticeably, because I was always around my family.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? And we're
You always
majority
had
of
your
us were
roots there,
Ethiopian.
sort of
Yeah,
thing.
majority of us are Ethiopian. We ate Ethiopian food as much as we had embraced Zimbabwean food.
Mm.
It was also westernized as well. Zimbabwe is more westernized because
Because it used to be Rhodesia,
yeah,
doesn't it?
that's right.
Yeah.
British colony, Rhodesia.
Yeah.
For
Joe's up
anybody.
on his history, Joe.
Jeez.
Yeah,
I
man, I
know.
like that, Joe. Well done.
I know quite a bit about Asian, like African history. To be
Yeah,
fair.
man, that's-
It fascinates me.
Good
It's
knowledge.
something definitely people might want to dive into. I'm not sure.
And African history is absolutely fascinating, and there's
It
so
is.
much of it. And like we don't talk about it. You're not taught it in schools.
No, not at all.
And we're all taught about American history, which is only 200 years old, and then you've got African history, which is centuries old. And,
Yeah, that's right.
not a lot. And the whole thing around the different cultures and languages is so profound, and a lot of that goes back to the sub-Saharan Africa as it developed, particularly throughout the 16th and 17th century. The terrain was so volatile that when societies came together, they couldn't get to each other because of the weathers, the terrain, the disease. It was too hot. So that's why so many countries popped up with all different languages and all different cultures.
Well, that makes
A
massive sense, doesn't it?
Lots of conflict as well over that time as well.
Definitely.
And,
Misunderstanding.
yeah,
brings
yeah.
on.
But when you look into all of that and how that evolved, it fascinates me.
I can tell.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
no,
a great
it's
description.
Yeah.
You
It was
definitely
amazing. I was
he's
in.
definitely educating idiots.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
tell you right.
Yeah.
I tell you.
Isn't it?
We're
Shout out
supposed-
the podcast.
we're supposed to be the
Shout out
idiots.
podcast.
We're the idiots.
No, we're the
Yeah.
idiots.
No, but
That's the whole point.
In that moment, we were the idiots. You know what I mean? You were educating.
Can't wait
Trust
to-
me, you were
don't normally
educating.
flip this way, so
Hey,
I
that's nice. It's nice. But yeah, there's a lot of different languages, even like different dialects. My best way of describing the different dialects is like Cockneys in comparisons to like people Scousers.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
or like,
Well, Jamaican
or
and
that-
English
yeah,
is
there you
different,
go.
both English but different dialects.
exactly.
Which sound completely
It
different.
sounds completely different, but
Yeah.
they use a lot of the same words,
Yeah.
but they just pronounce them differently.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man.
So tell us a bit about Zimbabwe then. What was your life like there? What sort of life did you live? And, what are the good things and what are the bad things about it? Or your life?
One bad thing the only bad thing I can remember was leaving. I swear to you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember having a bad time or like a bad upbringing or bad moments when I was there. Like, honestly, I absolutely loved my time when I was there.
How did you get on with the language barrier? Like, when you're in school and you're like making friends, could you pick little bits up, like you say, or was it just a straight, you didn't understand?
Do you know what? I struggled to understand the leap because I went from not knowing English
Yeah.
to being quite good at it. And I can't remember.
What, did you learn English first?
So I learned English, I believe, in the first couple of years before I went to primary school.
Oh, wow.
But you learn things like that quicker when you're a kid.
When you're younger.
When
Yeah,
you're young,
definitely.
You pick it up.
You
But
pick it up easy. Yeah.
I've been told I just pick things up quick,
Yeah, yeah.
like from when I was a child, and that the language thing is a very big description of that, because I don't feel like I had a problem with it when I went primary school. Like, it wasn't knowing the Zimbabwean language. Yeah, that was always a problem because I had to learn that. But because everybody spoke English, that was like the neutral language that everybody spoke. It's only natural that you pick it up.
Is Zimbabwe an abundant country?
In what sense?
In the sense of, does it have wealth? Is it, like you said, it was westernized? Is it got a good economy? Or is
It
there?
did have, yeah. When I was there, yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause I
Boots.
think in the 80s, I think it was, or the early 90s,
Yeah,
massively struggled.
late 80s, 90s till about. So when did we leave? 99.
99, yeah.
So did you leave before the crash?
Yeah, well, I believe so.
Yeah.
From what I remember.
So
We did. Yeah, we did.
Your auntie kind of predicted that happening.
She's seen it,
Wow.
bro. She's seen it, and even like now, like her friends from the stories I heard told her she was mad. Like, why are you giving everything up?
Yeah.
Well, wasn't it that guy? What's his name?
Robert
Mugabe.
Mugabe, yeah,
So
man.
he was the leader then.
Yes.
So obviously, to us, Mugabe is plastered all over the news, or was, as an extremely evil dictator, real problem for the West. What was it like?
No, man, he was a god to those people.
Wow, it's
He was a god.
incredible,
I
isn't
swear
it?
to you, man.
Yeah.
Like
Fake news, dude.
Because he was the
It's
reason
fake.
they became a republic. Like,
Yeah, so he's the
Well,
one that
he-
ended the kind of Rhodesia's kind of like legacy almost.
Yeah,
Not that
definitely.
it lasted that long, but he was the one that put the final nail in the coffin for
Yeah,
Rhodesia.
definitely.
And
He fought for it
embracing Zimbabwe.
as
But
well.
the reports on the news here were that he was, massacring white people that lived there and pushing them out. But you never really know what really went on over there.
Yeah. When we were there, nothing. Of the
Nothing
sort.
like, yeah, it doesn't surprise
Nothing
me.
of the sort. People would describe him as a dictator, but when somebody takes power and
Especially
keeps it,
off a westernized colony.
th-
It's someone
that
that's
much
going to
more
do it.
so, yeah. So
yeah.
he was a very powerful person. Like, we used to drive past his house. That's how like people that live in Washington that drive past the White House, like that. Obviously, huge walls,
That's mad.
compounded, everything. But you're driving past the president's house to go to school.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but he was worshipped, man.
Was he?
Like,
Yeah.
until the latter stages, when the economy started failing, when the money just wasn't working, because I believe after we left, they had like $1 million note. $1 million
really?
note. One
Wow.
note.
Yeah, because inflation went crazy
Yeah,
there, didn't it? So it cost a
absolutely.
ridiculous amount of money for a loaf of bread at one point.
But
didn't it?
this
Like,
is he
Everyone was a
got the
millionaire.
brunt of all that.
all that, yeah.
Not taking the fact that he was a big part of the Zimbabwe becoming independent. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
People don't understand I don't understand when people talk about the inflation, but then when you're talking about that hyperinflation, then everything just becomes
It just accelerates and becomes
yeah.
out of control.
Yeah, and that's what happened. And obviously, he got blamed for it all.
He got blamed for the whole thing. Wow. Okay, so I think the question begs is, you have such happy memories and you talk about family, and I can see by the look on your face when you talk about Zimbabwe, you look happy. So why would you leave a lovely country where you're really happy to come to the UK? Now, before you answer that question, I always wonder this, like, so many people come to the UK and some people even risk their lives to come to the UK.
Yeah.
And I think, okay, yeah, we're an abundant country and it's a democracy and all that, but life can be a struggle here. It's hard to you have to work hard here. You're in a rat race here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you want to go in society, are people who are sold a dream that isn't real? Or do people come to the UK and go, yeah, this is everything that I thought it was and this is an amazing place?
No, people are just blindsided.
Yeah.
I swear to God, everyone thinks it's easy. Soon as you make it to UK, Germany, America, you're gonna make it. Like, that's what everybody thinks, and it's not. It's not that whatsoever.
Yeah, but surely that depends on what circumstance. Because if you're fleeing a war,
That's different.
country,
That's different.
and this is definitely going to be better than that, isn't it?
Yeah,
So
but
it depends on where you're coming from and what circumstance, I suppose, doesn't it? As to
For safety reasons.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter what it's like. Just
No,
get
yeah.
safe.
yeah.
No,
But I
that's
think
the
in
point.
order to, a lot of people come here because they want to change their life,
Yeah.
Improve their life,
Yeah.
and they think they can do it here. I would just curious from that perspective of someone who's been through that.
People don't understand how hard it is to establish yourself in a new country. That is probably full stop. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't understand. You have to start
You've got
from
no
with
networks,
nothing.
no networks, no nothing.
No nothing.
Yeah,
no
yeah,
money.
yeah.
No,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
family to back you up.
And that's the
nothing.
practical side. There's also the emotional side.
And
to
then
it.
there's that. I came over as a 12-year-old. Mind you, I'd already left 2 different countries that I loved. Do
yeah,
you know what
and
I'm saying?
12 years old, it's hard to be 12 years old anyway.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I didn't even know that dynamic
Yeah.
until I got older about
Yeah.
being a teenager in
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah.
Let alone emigrate into a completely different culture. And obviously, moving from Zimbabwe to Ethiopia to Zimbabwe and back, it's not climate-wise, it's not too different.
Yeah.
Whereas when I came here, I was like, wow.
Grey skies.
Like, I can remember,
torrential rain.
when we were about to land, and I'm like, what's all that? And
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
my
What is
older
that?
brother's like, it's
Awful.
clouds. Like,
And also,
clouds.
why is everyone so miserable over here?
Yeah.
Because the sun's not
Because of
shining.
the weather.
This is what I'm saying.
But Abs,
Basically.
my question, you know, when you went to Ethiopia as an 11-year-old for that year,
Yeah.
did you go with the intention of only spending a year there? Or did you?
I don't think we were meant to even spend it that long.
Oh, it was just a stop off. before.
So we'd, my mum, who I call my mum, my aunt, she's decided to pack up, sell everything and move to the UK. But the plan was to go to Ethiopia because my dad was getting married. Our
Right.
younger brother was getting married. So we could all be a part of it, all experience that. And it was amazing. I'll never forget that. As a person, like, that's one of my fondest memories, one thing that always stick with me. But then she came to the UK and left me and her daughter, who I call my big sister, with my dad. I think we were only supposed to stay there for a few months while she got everything in order for us to come over. And things just changed, do you know what I mean? I don't think we were supposed to be there for that long, to be fair. I think.
Oh, you think she had trouble getting everything sort of together for you?
Like I say, you don't understand the dynamic when you go to a new place, how long it takes to establish yourself, sort things out, even just get a roof over your head. It's not easy.
Because I read on your blog, when I was reading your blog, which is an interesting read.
Thank you.
But there was a period of time where, so your mum went to the UK first.
Yeah, that's right.
And you stayed in Ethiopia.
Yeah.
So what happened there? What was the process? Did she come back and get you when you were
So,
ready? And how did
I'll give you a little background on my aunt, who I call my mum. Again, hello. She had 3 children. One when she was very young before she got married. And then she had a middle son. A middle second was her son, who I call my older brother. And then her final, who's my sister. So she got 3 kids. I only lived with 2 because her oldest stayed in Ethiopia when she moved to Zimbabwe when she got married. And what had happened was, so the plan was to bring me to Ethiopia. Her husband was a big part of that, but he'd passed away just before I came. I don't know the ins and outs of what happened. I just believe he got hit by a car. I'm not too sure about that. It's not really something I want to get deep into because I don't want to get wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, so when I fast forward, when we went to Ethiopia, we were all together. But before that, I think it was about 95, 96, my older brother, her oldest son, moved to the UK. So that was their plan because his dad passed away. There was he didn't feel there was a place for him back there anymore. So he wanted to try something new.
And he did that on his own?
He had his older cousin lived in London.
Oh, okay.
So he went and lived with him. So
You've got connections all over the world, haven't you?
It's up and down, man. You know, like when I talk about it and think about it, it's like, it's a lot going on.
Yeah, defo, yeah.
And when we stayed in Ethiopia, to answer Joe's question, me and my sister, when my mum came to the UK, my older brother came back to take us to the UK.
So he came back from UK to Ethiopia, grab you 2 and then come back to the UK. Right,
that's
I'm with you.
happened,
What was the first sweet you had when you were 12 in UK?
Sweet Mars bar.
Yeah.
What
What did
Mars
you
bar.
think? Have you had it before? Was it one of
No, I
the
never had it before. I never knew what a kebab was.
Oh, was that like?
Yeah, that was
Kebab.
mad.
Was that like?
That was mad. We lived in Croydon, South London.
Oh yeah, good kebab.
And my brother, he used to work at McDonald's.
Yeah.
I'll never forget it. Like, you get McDonald's.
Free food.
Free food at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
But he came home once with a kebab. And he's like, you never had a
Check this
kebab?
out.
You've never had a kebab? I said, what's that? He said, you never had a kebab? I was like, what's a kebab? No, seriously, just little things like that. Now I think about it, it just makes me laugh because that's the cultural stuff you're talking about. But that kind of had a good memory.
And what about like the weather,
Yeah, I can't.
football?
Fake.
Like,
I always, do you know what? Football is big in Africa too.
yeah.
Very big. And like, I can remember watching 98 World Cup.
Yes.
I can remember watching the Euro 2000. I can
we
remember.
we did bad in that one.
I can,
Yeah,
I
that's
can
not-
remember.
Who do you support?
What do you mean?
What
Country?
English team do you support?
Oh, Man United.
What?
You're lucky I didn't wear my top.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
I'm Man United, boys. Sorry, lads.
This is going downhill.
There's a story behind that too. If we got enough time.
He done a stint in Manchester as well.
No, basically, where that came from was my older brother's cousin, the one he came to live with.
Yeah.
He was a big Man U fan, and we went to live with him when we first came.
Oh, that's
Everything
unfortunate.
in the house was Man U, so like I've just kind of got drawn in.
Yeah.
So
You
what?
can change, if you want.
Nah. Behave yourself, man.
What nationality do you identify with?
I see myself as British.
British.
Yeah.
What national team do you support?
England.
England.
Come on, boys. It's coming home one day.
One day.
One day.
Yeah.
So, do you think it was difficult to adjust to English culture, or did you embrace it and you're like, no, this is wicked? I love it.
I felt like I embraced it. At the same time, I found it difficult, of course, because I've got to make new friends. I've got to go to a new school.
12's hard at that age.
You know what I mean? It's hard anyway.
So how was it in regards to language? Because now you just sound English.
I could speak English anyway. Like
That's a
in
head start,
Zimbabwe.
isn't
In
it?
Zimbabwe, English is a part of the curriculum. Like
Right. Yeah.
from primary school.
Right. Okay.
So, and even the primary schools, you know, like how I see how it was to how I compare it to like how my son or my stepson, when I see how they go through school, it's like miles ahead. It was miles ahead.
Really?
Primary school here is just like, it's like they're not bothered for the kids. I swear to God, it's sad. No, it's sad. Like, they don't get taught geography. They do now. Sorry, they do now. Like I used to have my own desk.
Yeah, you had better.
At
You saying you
school.
had in best.
My own desk, like lift it up. I got my books. I got everything in there. We had not that they don't have that now. It's just like
You was
I don't
better
feel
equipped in
the
Zimbabwe.
attention to details.
But what do you mean
looked at
about
as
what did you say about geography? They don't teach you geography.
It felt like they didn't teach geography to some primary school students.
I think he's saying Zimbabwe schools seemed a lot more advanced than the British school.
I'm talking about like as a year 2.
Listen, that
Year
does not
3?
surprise me.
Yeah, no, I'll be
Everyone's like,
honest,
it's a surprise. No, our education system is broken.
They're all,
Like, it's been
they're all
broken.
drunk. They're all drunk on wine. Teaching kids the next day on a hangover. Oh, let's get a kebab.
He's not fully wrong though. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the education.
I'm never fully wrong.
Listen, I know some good teachers who are dedicated teachers. And
I do as well.
they're all struggling. Like,
It was edgy.
it's bad here. I think most other countries could beat us. Like,
I
when it
think
comes to
they're
education.
overworked. I don't think it's the teachers'
course
fault.
they're
I
overworked.
think
Of course
they've
they're
got,
Do you know what? I
the
don't
way
think
that the
underpaid.
curriculum's put into their classrooms is ridiculous. They can't do it. It's not nothing. You know,
Overworked and
they're good
understaffed.
people that want to teach children and probably got no.
You know, they have to work at
doing
they have to work at weekends,
Yeah.
like, and plan all the lessons, and it's all done on. It's a whole system built on goodwill. Like
Yeah.
they know that
Yes.
these people are going to work really,
Yes.
really hard and
Yeah.
over hours.
Yeah, because
So
they
it's
enjoy their
sound.
job. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But relying on
I'm
it.
sure it kills the passion. You know, from like when you describe it, talk about somebody coming out of uni, wanting to be a teacher, and then compare them to somebody 20, 25 years later.
Yeah.
I can imagine that.
Our
It's been
teachers
ripped
were-
out of them.
Our teachers, their wills were just completely sucked out of them. They're just empty human beings in a desk.
And you know, all of our public services should they pay, the whole pay structure needs to change. If you work for a public service like a teacher or a police officer or a nurse, you should be high paid people in society because you're the one contributing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And working hard.
You're teaching the next generation.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
one of the most important
Yeah.
jobs, and they
And
love it. To
yeah.
do that as well, they should be rewarded.
This country's got it completely wrong in that sense. And this is why it fascinates me when I hear about people wanting to come here all the time. and especially the stories that you hear of refugees getting all the way to France, to Calais, to the coast, and they're in Europe. They've got to Europe.
Yeah.
Have you
They're
ever
in France.
have you ever tasted a kebab?
What?
From South London. You know what I'm saying?
He
Like,
told him.
Croydon.
He told him when he got
Come
here.
on.
He was like, "Listen,
it's all about
these
the kebabs,
are
boys.
Croydon. Oh, smash it!
Special.
He's trying his hardest to be serious right now.
Oh my God.
It's been serious
good
too
at
long. It's been serious too
So-
long."
Break the ice.
Yeah.
I'm just envisioning people on the beach going, we've got to get with kebabs.
Where's this Croydon kebab? Gotta get it. Sounds amazing.
No, but seriously though, no, it's a serious subject as well. But
Yeah.
why do they want to risk their lives to come here?
What
the
they
country's
see
broken.
on TV, what image they're fed. I can't give anybody that.
It's
But
a great
at the-
marketing scam. That's what it is.
But at the
Britain.
same time, you can make it like there's history here. You know, you talk about a lot of African countries. You can talk about their history when they became republics, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Talk about the British Empire.
Yeah, we probably
Do you know what
ruined
I'm
it.
saying?
That's
No,
the
but
problem.
regardless of that,
Yeah.
you want to be where everybody is trying to make it, not where everybody is that can't.
And that's a
makes
really
sense.
interesting point because what we don't realise here is there are so many countries, particularly in African nations, that have grew up on the back end of a British colony. So they're aware of Britain, they're aware of England, they're aware of London. And like you say, there will be a historical context of that was the centre of the British Empire, which was massive. I don't think people really appreciate the scale of what the British Empire was and the influence it had on the people.
On the world.
And, you
For
know,
such
the
a
people.
little island.
For
as
such
well.
a little island, yeah. And yeah, there's a whole story about how that happened as well, which is fascinating, but that would take a whole podcast. But, you know, it's... So yeah, I've never actually thought of that until you've just said it. Like, I wonder what, you know, growing up with that culture of, oh, that's Britain. So no,
Even America,
And America, yeah.
even America.
Go and live the American dream. That's what they're
There
saying.
you go.
Mm,
That's
the
all. That's
American
all you
dream.
ever hear.
but is America harder to get into?
I wouldn't know.
I think it is.
I wouldn't know. I didn't go.
I think they're pretty
I came
strict
here.
now. I think they're pretty
Yeah,
strict
but
now,
I-
Americans.
it's like you have to look at when it became that strict.
Yeah,
They can say to you the immigration and the borders are closed, but are they?
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I don't really know much about America. Well, actually, I don't know much about the British immigration as well. But all I do know is that I often think about once they get here, and they get through, you know, and they get to. That's when you are deemed an asylum seeker, isn't it? When you're here, you're seeking asylum in the country.
No,
or-
you have to apply for that.
Okay, so actually, do you know the differences between? Can you tell us
To a
about
certain
refugee?
extent, I've got a brief understanding. I know I was an asylum seeker, and I know the process. I'll probably hit that last. I believe after you're granted asylum, you become a refugee.
Right.
And everybody that's not from the place that they've moved to is an immigrant.
Yeah, he's an immigrant. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the refugee was before the asylum seeker, if I'm honest.
I
I
haven't
thought
got
that's when you're looking for refuge. Like,
I ain't got a clue.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I
educate us.
might have it flipped side round.
Yeah.
But because I'm still well, I'm not a refugee. No, I'm a resident. That's my
Yeah,
problem.
but you're a citizen.
Not yet. See, we can get into that too.
All right.
I'm actually working on that as we speak.
Can we get into that now?
Yeah, we can. I never applied for it after we got granted.
So how many years have you been
basically-
here for? How many
All
years
right,
have you
so
been
I'll,
here?
I'll talk about seeking asylum first.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a family, we decided to seek asylum because establishing ourselves was very difficult. Because I believe we came here not on visas, but because we were Zimbabweans, you get granted access into the country through Commonwealth
Right.
because we're part of the Commonwealth, so you don't need a visa to come to the country. And I don't know if there's a time scale of how long that access or you
I
being
did not know
allowed.
that. So, so the Commonwealth still does have some clout. So because
Well,
you're
it
part
did
of the
back then.
back
I'm not
then,
sure
yeah.
now. So this is
you're a part,
2000.
because you're a part of the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
You are then you're able to get there on a limited visa.
You're able to go to other Commonwealth countries without a visa.
Incredible. I did not
At
know
the
that.
time. I'm
At
not
the
sure
time.
about the laws now.
It's a good little perk, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I think
So we came, what did we do? We were in Croydon, London for about, so this was September 2000, we moved to the UK. We were in Croydon for about 4 or 5 months.
And what are you, 12?
So I'm 12
Yeah.
at the time.
So any schooling at that point?
So we're in Croydon for about 4 or 5 months. No, so September. Say till just after Christmas, living in Croydon.
Yeah.
Not too sure what's happening. Obviously, the adults are doing the work. Do you know what I mean? They're deciding what's happening.
Did you get into a school or was it not?
Not yet.
Right.
I got to the turn of the year, and then my mum told us that we were going to seek asylum.
Right.
So she got lawyers. This is all the legwork that she was doing before we came. And she just told us, me and my sister, that we were going to seek asylum. And then that granted us access to be able to apply to go to school.
Right.
And we went. My mum lived in North London. So we lived in South London. She lived in North London.
Oh, why? How come?
Because we lived with my brother.
Yeah.
And she had
Did she live on her own then?
she had a bedsit, like a shared accommodation flat in North London.
Right.
Because what she had was a friend who worked at the Zimbabwean embassy. And I believe that was her way in. Like specifically knowing people, having a bit of a network to
So
like
she set it first. for you
yeah,
be
to
able
like have access to lawyers,
Yeah.
know a few people in London, and then bring us over.
Yeah.
Was you scared at this point? Was you?
I don't ever remember being scared, you know.
I was going to say, 'cause I
Like-
bet your mum had to do a lot there.
She did. Do you know what? This is another thing. Like, this is one thing, and when I used by how I raise my son, like, you have to give children the opportunity to understand, and I believe that I understood a lot.
What? Say that again. You have to, or you don't.
No, you have to. Like, you have to trust your kids.
Yeah, they're stronger than you
Obviously,
think.
not tell them everything about
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
world, but when something's going on,
Yeah.
don't treat them like they're dumb and they don't know what's happening
Yeah.
or they don't feel it. Explain, give them an understanding how you think you would have wanted.
Give them
to
a
be
lot
on-
more credit. than
Yeah,
you
give them a
deserve.
lot more
Yeah.
credit because they're not.
And do you feel you had that when you was a kid, and that's why you wanted to?
and she
give that out
did
as well?
explain things to us, and this is why I don't ever remember being fearful or scared.
Yeah, it's good. It's
Do
positive.
you know what I mean? Because we knew we were coming to have a better life.
I
Like,
think
again, that's the second time in my life as well. If you think about it,
And you trusted your mum.
and I trusted her. Of
You know what I
course.
mean? Because she's telling you
No
the
doubt,
truth. You're like,
yeah,
yeah,
no
no problem.
doubt.
You got it. She's probably thinking at some points, oh, I don't
Listen,
know if I've
after-
got this, but
After what you've told me
Right.
about her, I trust her. She sounds like she
Yeah.
knows what she.
Yeah,
She sounds like a
See, I've
workhorse,
completely gone
financial
off topic.
advice.
What was I
everything.
talking about?
I don't know, but I like what you're talking about now.
What was
So,
I-
yeah,
what were
you
just-
had me embraced.
What were just
You
saying?
was telling us what you was in Croydon when you was 12 for
Yeah, and
6
then-
months, and then
And then, she lived in North London, Hendon.
Yeah.
And then when we got the application for asylum went through, we could apply to go to schools. And my sister, she was too old to go to school. I think she was like 15. So applying to go to a school was pointless. So she went to a college. I went to a high school because by this time I was 13. I went to Edgware High School.
Yeah.
Shout out Edgware High School. Anybody knows it?
where's that in Croydon?
Massive. No, that's in North London.
Oh,
It's
North
it's an
London.
area called Edgware. He knows. He knows. So I went there for about 2-3 months. I think it was in fact, it was 2 months. It was from January till March. And then in March, the lawyers told my mom that the application for asylum had fully gone through and they were going to provide us, the government, were going to provide us accommodation and in Nottingham. And that's how I moved to Nottingham.
Oh, amazing.
So another journey.
Another journey.
did you not think when you moved to Nottingham to Port Nottingham?
No,
Anyway.
the seed was already planted. bro.
Ah,
Come on,
okay.
man.
I can't change it. Even
Yeah.
though
So what year would this have been?
That was 2002. So
2002. Is that the year? I mean, mind you, now we're doing pretty well.
Yeah,
that's
we're
like the
flying
best
now,
club
we're
in the
flying.
world.
Yeah.
I
at that
moved to
point.
the UK.
I
No.
see now.
I moved to glory supporters and all that. It's all right. I see where you're going at. I see where you're getting at.
It was constantly on
Don't
Champions
speak your
League.
tea, huh? Yeah, I wasn't really into football like that though. I just remember supporting them. I remember my older brother and my older cousin. It's like there was an ultimatum one day. It's like, who do you like? Because I can remember watching Chelsea when I was back in Zimbabwe. Called Gianfranco Zola. Because he was small and he was
Oh,
sick.
he was a little god, he was, wasn't he? He's
And
like-
then I can remember liking Liverpool when I was in Ethiopia because of Michael Owen, and he was small and he was sick.
Is there a lot of Premier League football in
Yeah.
Ethiopia?
Massively.
What's the main sport in Ethiopia?
What do you mean? In Ethiopia?
Yeah.
I don't know. I know Zimbabwe is a lot of Arsenal, a lot of Liverpool.
Oh, right, so there's more. Premier League in
Southern
Zimbabwe.
African countries are more.
What about Forest?
No. I didn't know about Forest till I moved to Nottingham, I swear. And that's not even a dig, I swear to
Oh
God.
wow,
But I didn't know about football much back then.
yeah, that's true.
It's not like now,
And
right?
well, you didn't. You supported Man U, so
you know when you moved to Not-
I think I chose right.
You know when you
boys.
moved to
at the time,
Nottingham?
at the time, think about it.
Abs, you know when you moved to Nottingham,
Mm.
was that a choice or did they just say?
No,
"That's where
they
you're going"?
said, here's a house,
Right, okay.
go.
What
So
did
it could have
you?
been anywhere then.
What did you guys know about Nottingham at that time?
Robin Hood, obviously. That's it.
That's it.
Steal from the rich. Who didn't even know it was on the map. Like, I had to check a map. I remember looking at the map. I was like, how far is this place going to be? They provided us coach tickets from London to Nottingham. And I can even remember the journey. It was long. There was an accident on the M1. Supposed to take 3 hours. We were on it for like 5.5. Like, it was horrible. That was horrible. It was a hot day as well. I think it was
that's
in,
one of your worst memories. You said you've
Look,
gone all the way
already-
around the country.
all
and
the-
you're like,
Listen, yeah.
that
all-
part of the M1
around the world.
Bit.
That's
Yeah.
saying a lot about the M1. Just, I mean,
That says everything.
It does, I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah,
that is a very
Yeah.
big thing about
Yeah.
British culture. that M1.
Yeah.
Oh, it's horrible, isn't it?
Everyone's had a bad experience on the M1, man.
Yeah. So, as you go into Nottingham, are you thinking to yourself, right, this is it? You know, after this whole big journey, this is the place I'm going to live and settle? Or was you
I'm
like,
thinking to myself, let's just go. Like, we've been going so long. I'm hoping that I get to stay somewhere. Because as a kid, that's one thing that I never really had was stability in a home, like one home. Obviously, when I was in Zimbabwe, we lived in a place, my mom and my aunt and her husband's house and their kid's house. But then, obviously, he passed away not long before I came. And then she decided to sell up. And then we moved to another area. And then we moved again before we moved out. So I never really had that stability there. And then I spent a year in Ethiopia. So that's only a year. And then about a year in Croydon. About a few months in Hendon. That's another, like, anybody knows anything about North and South London, it's like two different cities. I swear to God, it's that far apart. And then, yeah, when I went come to Nottingham, I was just like, I hope I get to stay, basically.
Did you feel a sense of stability that this is it? I'm staying here. I'm not going anywhere
Not
else?
at the time.
No.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Because at the same time, we've got the asylum seeking application above our heads because it's an application. You haven't been granted it yet. Do you know what I mean? You haven't been granted asylum. And at the time when you're an asylum seeker, you can't work.
I thought granting asylum would be the fact that they're giving you.
No, but you're applying. That's a part of the application.
So was that still going through when you moved? When you was
That's
moved
why
to
they
London?
moved us, because they granted the application.
Right. Okay.
So
God, it's a
then
lengthy process, isn't it?
We were asylum seekers for about 7 years.
Wow.
so that journey, so going to London, then moving to Nottingham, and having that I am an asylum seeker, did you feel different? Did you feel out of place? Did you get any resistance from prejudice of anyone? Like,
No one knew.
yeah.
Because I didn't let no one know.
Yeah.
I was good at that. I was good at like.
So did
I
you
was
feel
good
it
at,
though?
I felt it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt that I was different to everybody else, but I always felt that. Like, as far as I can remember, being an Ethiopian in Zimbabwe, growing up in Zimbabwe, going back to Ethiopia, not speaking the language again, and then moving to London again, not knowing anybody. So I always felt like I had to paint this picture for everybody else that, and I still got bad habits of it now. Like, I'll be in a bad mood and pretend like I'm not.
You know what I'm seeing here, Babs? What I'm listening to is like there's a lot of admiration here because it's like there's a bit of a sense of adventure that I kind of like an envy of that, you know, let's just get up and go and do something different with our lives and go, you know,
Try.
go to other cultures and go and try. Like that's not many people have got in British culture, you know, not many people have got that sense of adventure. We're all very attached to our stuff here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we find it difficult to do things like that. But then there's the part of the bravery behind it because of uprooting, leaving this family member to go and be with that family member, and then going back to this family member. But when you talk about that, I only hear happiness. You've not said anything sad about it yet, which is like something that
I don't want to make you guys cry, man.
No.
That's all it is,
Well, no,
boys.
but I just think
Straight.
that
No, all right.
in such a positive way.
I can give you one instance that I can remember. Like, obviously, when I moved back to Ethiopia, I lived with my dad. I absolutely adored my dad when I was a kid. I can remember it. Obviously, he's your dad.
Yeah.
He's your hero. Do you know what I mean? So I got to stay with my dad. I got to be with my dad, my daddy's boy, that kind of thing. And then so I'm 11. I had my 12th birthday there, and he threw me a birthday party, which I absolutely loved. And then it come to the time where you're starting to get to know that you're leaving. And I absolutely hated my time. Hated knowing that I was going to leave. Hated it. Even now, I'm welling up thinking about it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you would do. Yeah,
Hated
of
it.
course.
Yeah.
And it's the realizations because I was a bright kid and we knew what was happening. Like, I knew I wasn't going to see my dad for a while.
Mm.
And how long? I didn't see him for like 3-4 years.
Oh, really?
You
That's,
know what I mean? And since then, I haven't seen him for 18 years
That's
now.
an important time as well,
You know
when
what I
it's
mean?
12 with your dad. That sort of time is where they are your heroes, aren't they?
Yeah, big time, man.
Did you have contact when you was in different places?
Yeah, my aunt, who I call my mom, she's the bridge. She's always been the glue that's kept us all together,
Yeah.
kept us always communicating.
Sounds like a hell of a lady.
Yeah, big time, man. Big time. She's raised me, so she must have.
Yeah,
must be,
yeah.
I know I can be hard work sometimes, man, but at the same time, she always wanted us to be educated. And that's one thing, like, we are big time. And she's a big part of that. A very big part of that. And that's one thing I wanted to know. Like, I probably don't tell her that to her face. Or like,
so she didn't have faith in the Zimbabwean education then?
No, she did, but she always preached education regardless of where you were. Want to educate yourself, want to better yourself.
That was a priority.
Yeah, big, because she knew that it would give us a step ahead in life. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Not being naive and like having your eyes shut. And that education gives you that a little bit more of an understanding of the world, I believe.
Yeah, knowledge is power, isn't it? Yeah. Definitely.
Even though,
like Luke normally says, the more you know, the less you understand.
That's Luke's motto. Think that through for a moment.
Yeah, have a little think about that, Labs. Because
listen,
the more you know, the less you understand.
Try not to blow his mind straight away.
Yeah.
Ease him in. Just let it settle.
I feel like I kind of get it though. I feel like I kind of get it now, but it's. Do you know what? Do you know why? Do you know why though? God,
please explain.
The world. The more you know about the world,
yeah,
the less you. For me, the less you believe in what you thought you knew about the world.
Yeah. And that can't fit on a t-shirt.
Yeah, but
so
that's not
It's not the same. It's not the same.
Unless you understand.
Right. This is a revelation because Abs is now with justification to
I think we should ask everyone.
Hey, somebody's got to be on his side.
Thank you, mate.
Yeah, you know what, mate? You're right.
you.
You're right. So what you're saying is that the more you learn, the more you then question what you thought you already knew
about reality.
And then what Luke's done is,
flipped it completely. He just said you don't get it.
Shorten that.
You know a lot, different. But you don't get shit.
Yeah,
that's what you're saying.
Yeah, I agree. Thanks for that, mate.
Nice.
I got you, man. I got you.
Can I just? You know what? The stormtroopers. I just want to talk about the stormtroopers because we had these stormtroopers for the first couple of episodes, didn't we?
Yeah, 2 or 3. 2 or 3, I think.
2 or 3 episodes. Yeah, and look, we got them, Abs, because as you look at the stormtroopers and then look at our logo, it kind of it's the whole hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil theme.
I see.
So we really like them. And, like, as you can see, like we like a bit of 80s culture and all that sort of stuff. Old, aren't we? We're 40, we are. So we like our 80s stuff.
We might not look it, but we're not too far apart, boys.
Yeah. Then they went missing. They were lost.
We've got a story.
Well, no, and then Luke ordered them straight away. So efficient.
Wait, how did they get lost?
Hold on.
His dog ate them. Right? So
that's what happened.
His dog
Look, listen, you should have seen it. It was like in Star Wars. You know, the massive animals.
Attack of the Titan.
I tried to get his legs with a rope and try and pull it. Like that.
Trivia question. Does anybody know what those animal thingies are called? I watched Star Wars. I don't know what those are.
My dog was dressed like that as it happened.
Right.
And then I tried to save him, Luke Skywalker. And in my attempt to save them, they broke in half. So I gave you the bad news. And then I pre-ordered them from
straight away. He pre-ordered them
straight away
about 3 months ago, 4 months ago.
Yeah.
So they've arrived. So thanks, Luke.
No problem.
Yeah. Did they come? So what time did they get there in the post today?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
They're not my ones. They're not my ones.
Oh, that's right.
Mine is still in the basket waiting to be
am I mistaken?
purchased. I can
He
stop
said
that now.
3 months ago. What kind of delivery service did you order from?
He's lying. That's all it is.
Yeah.
There's an old woman painting them now.
I've
I've got to stop her from painting them individually. And you've just gone and bought some plastic ones.
You just owe me 25 quid. That's the crack.
Yeah. Sounds.
We said thanks, Ben.
Yeah, thanks, Ben.
No problem, mate.
Anyway, you got that out now. That's fucking fire. You pathetic bastards.
Oh, wow.
That's touched a nerve. It's touched a nerve.
No, I'm sorry about not
big one
ordering,
there,
but
boys.
it's just pathetic. Man.
Honestly, I've got them on order. Used to having 6 of them. Anyway, we digress.
So, how many times have you been back to Ethiopia?
I haven't.
What about Zimbabwe?
I haven't. I haven't been out of the UK since I got here.
Tell me why. What?
Because, all right, so when you become an asylum seeker, you apply for asylum to the Home Office. The first thing they do is take your passports.
Really?
What? And you was they did that for 7 years?
Wait a minute.
Well,
What's the
still got them
justification?
now,
Why did they take your passport?
Because you're applying for asylum here. They don't want you to go anywhere else.
So
I believe.
So your Zimbabwean passport?
Yeah, my Zimbabwean passport.
Gone. And then you apply to get a British one?
So what happens is when you're granted asylum, fast forward 7 years.
Yep.
We got granted asylum after being denied it as well, and then my mom had to go to court and like plead our case in front of, I don't know, magistrates, whatever. I'm not sure. We were granted asylum, and then you get your residency permit. So it's like the equivalent of a green card in America, if you want to call it something. And then that essentially starts your life here. You get a national insurance number. Well, you have to apply for national insurance number.
Is it temporary though, that card?
It's yeah.
So then you've had
The residence permit is, well, it's ours is indefinite leave to remain. So you can't run out. It's indefinite.
Okay.
But I believe some people's.
But why that instead of just granting you
citizenship?
Yeah.
Because there's a process which is called naturalization, which people, foreigners, have to go through to become citizens.
Okay. But what, we're talking, how long has it been now then?
So 2009, I think we were granted as for our papers.
Can they give you any idea of how long it will take?
No, but that is down to me now. So basically, when we got our residence permits in 2009, my mum, my older brother, they did theirs straight away. Me and my sister, obviously we're adults now. We work. We don't work. We've got into work because essentially you have to establish yourself now. So for all this time, I have to go school, or my sister has to go college. We have to stay in education because we're not allowed to work.
Yeah.
So when you're an asylum seeker, you cannot grant you don't have a national insurance number, so you can't work
without that card.
Yeah, you can't work, so you can't earn your own money. So we didn't have money. We got allowance. I think it was like 40 quid each a week. But at the same time, something I probably I don't even mind saying because it was a part of the struggle. My mum used to have to go to London to work. She was a hairdresser by trade. And she used to go to London to work, get cash in hand. And she still had that flat in North London the whole time we were in Nottingham. So she used to go like 3-4 days a week.
Wow.
Just to work, live, and earn money. So obviously we're not starving. Not that we were starving, but what's £40 a week?
Yeah.
Each though. That's each. So I got £40 a week.
Was that, did you have your own bank accounts then? Did you have to
No, it was post office. They used to pay it into a post office account. And I think like halfway through, they changed it from actual money to vouchers, like as the vouchers.
Really?
Yeah.
Could you open your own bank account?
No.
Wow. That's so limited, isn't it?
Yeah.
For that amount of time. It's
Seriously limited. Obviously, that's
almost, you feel a bit
like,
trapped.
What I found hard, like the first thing I can remember finding hard is when I was getting ready to leave school. And like everybody's getting a job. I can't get a job. Or how do you tell your friends that you can't get a job? They don't know I'm an asylum seeker.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
can I ask why you didn't tell anyone?
I definitely found it hard to talk about.
Oh yeah.
Not that I was ashamed of it. It's just like
embarrassed.
I knew that it would seek more questions. Like people would ask a lot more, and I didn't know how to answer
People are nosy as well.
People are nosy, but at the same time, I didn't have the
like
answers.
Us here now, asking those
what
questions.
we're doing,
But I didn't have the answers. Because we didn't have the answers.
Yeah.
Like, we're just asylum seekers. We don't know if we're going to...
And you've been through all this as a kid as well, haven't you?
Well.
Do you know what I mean?
And then I've got the dynamics, the social dynamics that I'm having to like do a triple backflip to flip and just fit in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just
but this
to
explains...
fit in.
Can you do that?
No. I can do a backflip.
You're not fitting in here then.
Can do a
Because we all can.
Come on, boys. Hey, do it now on the table. But yeah, just so many different dynamics, social dynamics. Obviously, I'm a teenager. I'm in a different country. I've finally, and by this point though, we stayed in Nottingham, what, 4 years? No, about 2.5 years before I was just about to leave school. So yeah, there's so many different dynamics. It's just tough.
It does explain though how, because I see you as a really confident, like socially active guy, like you. But that you've been through all that.
I had no choice.
Yeah, well, you've done it all, haven't you?
From
an early age.
I've had to learn how to be a part of like different cultures, different surroundings, different groups.
Almost a head start, like because you did it so early.
Yeah, but
so much.
It wasn't like I had a choice. I just had to. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not something I would never put my son through that.
No.
But at the same time, he hasn't got the life that I might have had, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
If I didn't, like
Different circumstances.
if we talk about me now, that never left Ethiopia, who knows where I'd be?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I might not even be alive.
Why?
Just in general.
Yeah.
Just like here. If I grew up here, if I was born here, I might not be alive.
Yeah.
Just by how you choose to live your life.
Yeah.
Not caring about tomorrow. Because I say that as well, thinking, because life's not easy in Ethiopia. As there's no like benefit system for people if they haven't got families. Well, I don't know about now, but there wasn't then. Do you know what I mean? So like, if you can't make money to eat, like you're not eating. It's that real. Well, it was. Again, I only go off what I remember.
So there's no welfare system out there.
No, not
About healthcare.
not as far as. Well, I know there's hospitals. Do you know what I mean? I know there's infrastructure like that, but I don't know how it works for the people. Do you know what I mean? So
And it's interesting because you said a minute ago that, you know, I'd never let my son go through that. Wait, you know, if I think about my son and he's like, you know, here, this culture these days, like we're so loving towards our kids and we want the best
big
for
time.
them. And my little lad, he hates being without his mom and he's always wanting to be with us all the time. And, you know, would he ever be able to get up and go and live with a relative in another country? Like, never. Because we're all so soft here, aren't we? Do you know what I mean? Like, these days. Like, and obviously, even though you want to put your son through that, don't you think that this has made you a more hardened,
definitely
aware person? Like,
definitely
more resilient.
Going through that, the person
most
you've
definitely.
become.
It's definitely who made me who I am. Of course,
So that's potentially a positive thing. So.
it's not potentially. It's definitely a positive. It's definitely a positive.
But
I take it.
We
as
want our own kids to go through it.
Is that overprotection?
But then again, I'll go back to what I said to Luke about trusting them. I believe if he had the opportunity, maybe he would embrace it the way I did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You would treat him the same as what your mum did. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you've definitely embraced it. Like, I can tell by the way you're talking about it. Like,
Yeah, I've definitely embraced
just gone
it.
head first in.
Yeah.
And I suppose as a kid, we're more resilient as children, aren't we? And it's
Yeah,
just
we're
like, we just get
kid-
on with it.
You're fearless.
Yeah, you're fearless as
You're
a kid.
absolutely fearless. You're
Yeah.
willing to try anything.
I mean, doing that now as an adult, you'd be like, well, you know, that would be a more
but-
scarier experience.
So, like, if you compare us, the four of us, I would find it easier because I've done it.
of course.
Do you know what I mean?
Experience.
It would be completely easier for me to go somewhere and be like, all right, we're going to stay here for 2 years.
I've never caught a flight on my own. Never.
Have you
Yeah.
not?
Have you?
Yeah, loads of times to it when I lived in
I
Tenerife.
can't believe you brought
That's a
that up.
stat for me.
No, but-
That's,
Well, listen,
that sounds
you
far
little
away from
definition of
Abza.
what
You know
we're
what's
talking about.
interesting about this, though, Abs, is that, you know, I like, you know, we talk about going to other countries and staying there for years. Luke.
Oh, wow. Let's talk about him not being on a plane.
Right,
Let's talk
wait,
about
wait.
him not being on a plane on his own for
Luke-
1 minute.
Luke
No, we'll
backdoors
move on
it.
to that, but he will cry if he's on his own on a plane. Think about it.
Hold on a minute. That accelerated.
You went
right. All I admitted
I'm saving
was
myself there.
I've never been on a plane on my own. That's
Is that
just-
because you're scared to go on a plane?
No,
The
you
op-
used
the
to, like
opportunity-
Mr. T. from
the
the
opportunity has never arose to be on a plane on my own. The only reason
Well,
he
you
has is because
tried.
he leaves stag do's and holidays early all the time.
Yeah,
That's
Luke,
why he's on his own.
Luke's never made a full lads holiday. He goes
So
home
I'm
early.
guessing you're talking about with somebody you know.
Yeah, we're just talking about
Yes,
pathetic
yeah, yeah,
lives, mate.
yeah.
And you've got
Yeah, so
something
what
genuine.
you've done
and-
in comparison to going
Yeah.
to Magaluf for 5
And
days,
bottling it.
but
Backdooring it.
but
Is that the
leaving
one?
after 2 days.
At least I went on a plane on my own.
that don't make it sound good.
It doesn't make it sound worse.
like telling you.
I've just got Luke's back tonight. I've just got Luke's back.
Hey,
We've
we've got the flipping chords to our
Yeah, we
right.
have.
Did Luke
Yeah.
phone you up earlier? Went, listen, lad,
Listen,
this
I
is
need
how it's
some
going to go
backup,
down on
man.
this
These
podcast.
two
He
are
knows
having
the-
me
he
up.
knows the
Them
struggle.
two
Every
right
single. Do you know
twats.
what it is? I've watched the podcast, guys.
Yeah,
that's what it
see,
is.
He watched
Yeah.
it.
I've done my due
dynamic.
diligence.
Luke needs some backing on this one.
Appreciate that.
They keep trying to target him.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
they do.
no, but
Bullies.
that's why. Because in the photo, he's what?
Yeah.
Guy who does not speak. What
Oh,
was
we're
it?
not allowed to talk about that. Big Ben.
Oh,
Big Ben poster.
this is a sore subject, Abs.
Is a source
You've
of
opened a can of worms here,
But it's
mate.
not. It never
Not,
is.
though,
but
because
it is.
you're educating me, boys.
Yeah. Well, we'll educate you on what
So
happened.
tell
then.
it.
Okay,
No, let Luke tell it.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, so basically, we was looking for photos, and we are they going to tell
What do
a
you mean we
different
was
story today?
looking for
No,
photos?
we're taking photos to have that look like the stormtroopers, and Ben just came with his big headphones on, took the photo, wanted to be in the middle. Let me speak.
I'll let you go on.
Let him tell the story.
Yeah, and then I was like, "Well, hang about." And they said, "You have this." It was like the worst. It was like turn up to PE last, and you have a PE kit. I was just like, "Oh, here we go. I'll get the bit of tape over my mouth." Brilliant. And then they used an old photo, and they all had theirs all enhanced. And then Ben made himself twice as big as everyone else.
Twice as big.
And he can't fly planes on his own.
I tell you what happened. We did the photos for it, and Luke said, "I want to wear the tape." But then have to look in through. Me and Joe looked at about 5 photos, picked one. Luke looked through about 500.
He had about 500 photos taken of him that you weren't happy with.
Changed his top, got his hair cut. Like, he did all sorts.
But it was the tape that there was a problem.
No, because before that you had the cross on, didn't you?
But
you chose it.
Yeah, but the tipping point was that when the guy who did the logo, the graphic designer, Indy, shout out to Indy, he just, on it all by himself, put Ben in the middle.
It wasn't discussed.
He sent the logo to us. I was just like, yeah, all right. Big problems for Luke, that was. Big problems.
Oh, yeah. And then when I seen Ben and Indy out one night and they're eating food, I was like,
It all makes sense now.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're
having
Ben's
a
got them
steak.
massive headphones on. Like, Not really,
I
mate. You look good.
I
You look good.
originally
Look, listen,
wore
it's all right.
glasses.
I'm happy with it now. It's good.
We
You're the
swapped
better
over,
looking
me
one,
and you,
anyway.
didn't we?
Sorry?
I originally had glasses on, didn't I?
Yeah, we swapped around.
I think we can all see that I've looked the worst there. I think that's just categorically
I don't
correct.
think you do. I think, why? Why do you look the
Well,
worst?
you don't think
you know what?
Because you're in the middle looking great. That's always been the point. That's my point. Your opinion on it doesn't matter.
Okay.
I feel like Luke thinks he looks the worst because his is the only smile you can't see. Isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not smiling.
Looks like
I'm
he's trying
angry.
to say something, doesn't it?
Yeah, I want to
You
be
know
in the
what
middle.
That is actually why we covered his mouth up, because I'm sick of hearing him say it.
I want to
Just take it up.
Yeah. So that's the
What do you reckon to the logo, Abs?
I love it. I love it, boys.
Cheers, mate.
I love the title of the podcast, everything, man.
Yep.
Cheers, pal.
Indy of Hoodie Design, his name is. He does
man.
all sorts of clever work like
man,
this.
make sure you pass that.
Yeah, it's
Pass
good.
his details over.
He's a good guy.
Shout out.
Ben's
To be
got-
fair, he could
Ben's
do
got his
something.
number.
You could do one because you've got a blog, haven't you? And
Yeah.
The blog is abswho, so abswho.wordpress.com. Why did you
Great
start?
shout out there.
That's right, mate. Tell us about the blog and why
I
did you
just
start
started the podcast to basically like
it? Podcast?
Sorry,
Blog.
blog.
That's us.
Hey, you got me. You got me. I started it just to like have a place just to put my thoughts.
Let it out.
Just let it out.
Does that help you accept it? Because you seem, when you say that you didn't accept it when you was younger, it was a surprise. Because for me, you always seem like you embraced everything that you've done. So
Yeah,
You
that's
think the
because
blog-
you lot,
Yeah.
we met after I'd come to terms with everything I've been through, how I dealt with things.
Yeah.
And I was a lot more honest about my life and my upbringing and everything I've been through.
Well,
When we first met.
I think the blog will help people that don't know anything. You know, they're coming here with that was afraid like you. That it's going
Yeah.
to give them a little bit of a.
I'm
Better
impressed with
version.
your writing skills as well. Like, you're a good writer.
Thank you.
Yeah, really are.
Yeah,
Your
my
handwriting's
mum,
lovely.
my mum said I should try doing that because I'm good at it.
Yeah, defo.
I even had a stint at a university in London, and we had to write about something. And one of the things you have to do is put them through like a plagiarism system.
Yeah.
And my tutor was like, "How did you do it without using anyone else?" I'm like, "Because I just wrote it off the top of my head. I'm good at writing down my experiences."
There you go, mate. It's your calling.
Yeah, man. So,
Definitely.
I started it just to like, obviously, like I said, just put my thoughts down and kind of like put it out there. And I got good feedback. Like people,
How can people get to it? What do they go on?
we've got a link.
Okay.
And I'm not ready. Imagine that. Wow.
Sorry.
We've got a link
Go on then, get it.
somewhere. We'll post it up. Yeah, we'll post it up. All
Yeah,
right?
Mikey will put it just there.
Yeah,
This is
thank
what we
you.
do. Mikey, just
Are
there.
you pointing? Yeah, Luke's holding it right now.
I was
Nice
joking.
one, boys.
No pressure, Mikey. Got to get that bob on me, right? Otherwise, it
Yeah.
just looks trampy. Like,
No, it's
gotta
got
have
to
a bit
be.
of class.
It's got to be in his hands.
Yeah.
It's got to be in his hands. Like you should have done that.
I liked how he chucked it at the end as well. Can we see it fly off the screen?
Oh yeah.
No, they're not asking for much, Mike.
He's got their skills,
To be fair, right, to be fair,
We had that convo just with our eyes, by the way.
Ben sent Mikey 50 edits the other day. 50 edits of a
pal.
podcast.
Where do you find the time?
5.
Like,
We
wow.
need 5. How went for 50?
I don't find the time.
I
That's the
just didn't
problem.
want to miss the
That's
good
why they're
stuff.
angry at me all the time.
Oh no, yeah, it's just me and Ben that do all this stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just keep getting bings on my phone.
Luke just gives you all of this stuff, don't?
yeah, exactly.
See, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Such a contribution. That's so, it's that big
Thank
that
you.
me and Ben have to do everything else.
Yeah.
Oh, you are ruthless.
It's so we can sleep at night.
I'm glad you finally figured that out.
Yeah,
'cause
I
it was
have,
been
mate. It took a lot of thought and lots of ups and downs. But that's why I've had to come to this
to
conclusion.
come up with that positive.
have to
Yeah, I've had
accept
to. I drive myself mad.
Oh wow, you're giving him far too much clout, Abs.
No, it's all right. Let him have his back.
Yeah,
up
the
today.
blog boys was just definitely just some way of me putting my thoughts
Your stamp. You
down.
found your story.
I haven't written anything for a while, but because just life takes over, you know what I mean? Just finding the time and then just getting back into it. But I feel like now is the time that I should specifically get back into it. Just put like a lot more of the why I'm here. That's what I called it as well when I'm describing or talking about my younger years, stuff that you've heard me talk about today. I called it why I'm here. And yeah, I definitely need to get back to it.
You definitely need to get back to it. You know what? I was thinking about this recently, actually, because I think that a lot of people, including myself in this, a lot of people always talk about how much they haven't got time to do something. I got time, I'm busy. Like, how are you? Are you busy? Oh, they're busy at the minute. Like, it's just...
It's a talking point.
It's a talking point, right? And actually, I think 99% of the time, we're just out and out lying to ourselves and everybody else. I was thinking about this about myself, like, and I try to not say that often. Stick to like, if I haven't got time that day, then I'll say I haven't got time. But you know, we most of the time we're just lying, because if someone put a gun to your head and said, write that blog or your whole family dies,
doing it
You're
there
doing
and
it.
then.
Because
there
you can
and
find
then,
the time
in that moment.
You understand what I'm saying? Like the
I think
motivation.
that works with everything, though.
Yeah, motivation.
Yeah, well, no, guns to heads.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Generally,
Gun
someone has something
motivation.
But
to
what I'm
do.
saying to you is
You find the time.
you'd find
You'd
the
make
time
the
to
time,
do
not
it.
find it. You'd make
the
it.
time to do it because you're highly motivated.
Well, no, I'd stop everything I was doing and do whatever he said pointing at my head. That's
Yeah.
all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah.
But you would
That's
do
the
it,
right
is his point.
It's all about prioritizing what's
What
important.
I'm saying to you is you can make time if you want to.
Yeah,
Right.
prioritize.
Do you know what I mean? You can make time
agree.
if you want to. And I'm not
Completely.
saying that I'll just do some reflection myself.
No, that's
I just
true.
thought, you know, I'll bring that up because you mentioned
It's
it.
very
Yeah,
true.
you don't point guns at people's heads and make them do things.
No,
Just
but
to
what I'm
make
saying,
sure
but
that
I
they
do,
know that.
you know, you do things like, you know, I will on a Saturday go and watch the football because that's my life and I love it, and then go for a few drinks and then go out for food, and then on the Monday go, I can't do that, I ain't got time. Bullshit, because you know what really was that isn't as important to you.
Yeah.
What's more important to you is having a nice time and going out.
Yeah.
So
That's where you prioritize.
So
That's
don't
what
be
you
ang-
prioritise.
Don't be angry at yourself because you've made that choice.
no, be angry at yourself because you have got time. You just prefer to do other things.
Oh, don't be angry. Just do
Or
other
just
things.
stop lying about having not enough
That's
time.
what I'm saying. Yeah.
Just be honest. No, I don't want to see
like,
you.
You could if you want to.
I
not
don't
do
wanna
that
come
and get
over.
on with it.
No, I don't want to be around, man.
So write.
That's basically.
So write your blog.
Yeah, man.
Oh, right. Yes, yeah.
No,
Right, your blog.
Yo. Hey, listen. I will promise.
No,
And, yo,
definitely. We want to read it.
Yeah,
Definitely.
man. Definitely. You lot have learned a lot about me today.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I'm
100%.
glad I came.
Mate, I already respected you, but I respect you even more now.
Thank you.
I do as well. Like
hearing your
I've got a
story.
lot of admiration for the way you carry all of
His
that.
attitude, yeah.
Yeah, your attitude towards it.
I knew the first
Thank you,
time I
boys.
met you, you had a good soul, and
Yeah.
you just proved it more and more.
There's not
and
an
every time I
ounce
see you.
of victimization there, is there?
No,
Not an ounce of I had to do this and I had to do
You've
that. Like,
embraced
just
every
done it.
positive part of your journey.
I've definitely embraced it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't change it. That's one thing about my life. I wouldn't change it one bit.
Amazing.
Lovely.
Any
Amazing.
experience I've been through, whether it's good or bad.
Well done.
Good.
Amazing.
All right. Well,
Yeah, thank you.
cheers, mate.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
lads.
thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me.
What is it? What you're doing going forward then? Like, what's the vision? What's the goal?
To live life.
To live
Simple
life.
as that.
And write a book.
Perfect.
And write my
I love
blog.
it. Yeah.
And write my blog.
And
Good
not
stuff.
get
Nice.
shot by a jab.
Live by that rule and you'll do all right.
You'll do all right.
You'll do all right. That could be a new one for
Oh,
you.
and about everything's fake as well.
What?
Yeah. You know that.
Oh yeah. Well, that's another one of Luke's life mottos. Like, understand that
Everything's
everything's fake, and you will be okay.
You won't go far.
So
wrong,
what we will
is
do,
the
we'll
exact
leave you. The Educated Idiots podcast will leave you with that sound advice, okay?
Carry that through to the next part of your journey.
Everything's fake. If you know that, you'll be all right.
That might be the start of my next blog.
Please do that.
Yeah, do that.
Please do that.
Everything's fake, starting with.
Yeah.
No, thanks a lot, mate. Thanks for coming. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Abs. Top
Loved
man.
it.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, lads.
Yeah.